in this video, we're going to get an idea of how does perfect competition work. Okay, so we're going to just get an idea how this market works a little bit. How does being a price taker work? Okay, and so we can think of it as like a two-step process. Okay, in this two-step process, the first step is the price is determined by interaction of market demand and market supply. So the price is determined by the interaction. So this is what we did in chapter 3, interaction of market supply. So total, if it's like, for example, corn, the total of all the farmers in the world, and market demand, the total of all the people who eat corn. So we have our market supply, market demand, and the graph for that's going to look just like it is just our normal supply and demand graph, right? So that determines a price. And then the price takers, we're going to focus on the firms. We're not going to really be paying attention to the customers here. The price taker, so once the price is set, the individual can buy, this is what price taker means, buy or sell as much as they want at the market price. Okay, so this price comes from the market, and once the market determines the price, then the individual can buy and sell as much as they want at this price. Okay, so that's the basic idea we have here. Why can they do this? Well, again, it takes a little while for this to sink in, but they can do it because they're a price taker. So they're really small. So, like for example, if you decide to, there's some crazy fad diet that requires you to, I don't know, eat more wheat. I know that's not going to happen, but let's suppose it was. Then if you go ahead and do this, only you, not everybody, but just you, you start eating a lot more wheat, you are not going to change the world price for wheat. You're going to have zero effect on this market because you're just too small, right? So you can think of your changes might be less than 1/1,000,000th of the total, right? So it's still not going to have any effect. And that's the same thing if one farmer in Iowa decides to switch from corn to soybeans, it's not going to have any effect whatsoever on the world market. So that's what we can say is, well, once they're set, they can decide what to do. They can decide to sell more, they can decide to sell less. As long as they're relatively small compared to the market, it's not going to affect the market. Okay, so this is the basic idea. So now what I want to do is I want to walk through a example. Okay, so we're going to walk through a numerical example, and then a little bit later we'll walk through a graphical example. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to assume we're going to do this from the point of view of a firm. So we're going to do this from the point of view is one firm, and this firm is like a representative firm. Okay, so that's kind of the approach we're going to take to this industrial organization portion of the course. So we're going to assume they're profit maximizing, right? Their goal is to maximize profit. Their goal is max profit. Incidentally, here's a symbol, looks kind of like pi, you can use for profit in economics. And then just as a reminder, we know that profit is equal to total revenue minus total cost. And we also know that total revenue, if we have one price, is our price times quantity. Okay, so anyways. So now our question that we got to see is, well, given now, how do they choose? So how should the firm choose quantity? What is there a pattern? How should they choose the quantity to max the profit? Okay, and so to do this, let's just look at a numerical example, and then we see how to do it. Okay, so let's look at this numerical example and see how to do it. I'll go ahead and write the numbers real quick, and then we'll talk about it. Okay, so first of all, let's suppose the market price is 4. So per unit, they can sell for $4. So 4. So if they sell 0, they can get $4 for it. And if they want to sell 1, they can get $4 for it. And if they want to sell 2, they get $4 per unit, and so on. If they want to sell 3, it's still $4 per unit. 4, still $4 per unit, and so on. So this is what it means to be a price taker. You no longer, you individually, the market still has a downward sloping demand curve, but you individually can sell as much as you want. Oops, I shouldn't have dollar signs in these. I don't know what I'm doing.
you can sell as much as you want at $4. And that's again because you are small compared to the market. Okay, so this is what our for the individual firm, our demand looks like this. So our price actually doesn't change when we change our quantity. So then from there we can go ahead and do some calculations. We can get our total revenue, right? So that'd be 0 and $4 and $8. Let me make my pen a little smaller. And $12, $16, and $20, and $24, and $28, and $32. So okay, so it's going up. And then from there we can do a few more calculations. We can get our average revenue. Okay, so average revenue is just your revenue divided by your quantity. And so we can't do an average for 0. And then from there, it's going to be, you guessed it, so 4 divided by 1 and 2 divided by 8 divided by 2 and so on. It's going to be $4. So I'm just going to draw this all the way down. It's $4. So here our average revenue and our price are the same. And incidentally, that's always true. That's always true because revenue is P times Q if you have one price. So revenue is P times Q. And so when we divide by Q, right, we're just going to get P. Okay, so it's always true that these two are equal, right? So these two are actually equal. So often you'll hear us refer to the price. We also refer to it as average revenue. Okay, now our marginal revenue is a little different. So our marginal revenue is how much does the revenue change compared to how much does the quantity change. Okay, but in this case, we're going to find out that they're going to be the same. We can't do that for this one. So when we sell one more, how much revenue do we extra revenue? Well, our revenue goes up by $4. So I'm looking at from here to here. And we sell one more, and it goes up by $4. And one more, and it goes up by $4, and so on. And so that is unusual. Okay, so that is unusual. So let me summarize what we have here so far, and then I'll take a pause, and we'll come back in another video. So it's price equal to average revenue. This is always true if you have one price. Okay, if you change every customer the same price. And then the second part, so that's the first thing we got from this. And the second thing we get from this is price equal to the marginal revenue. That's the revenue you get, extra revenue you get by selling more. This is only true for perfect competition. So why is it only true for perfect competition? And that's because normally if you want to sell more, you have to lower your price, right? And so when you lower your price, you have that, remember what you should remember, we talked about along elastic demand curve, what happens, right? So normally when you want to sell more, you have to lower your price, and so you gain revenue from selling more, but you lose revenue from lowering your price. But in this case, when you're a price taker, you can sell as much as you want at the market price. And so we get this relationship where price is also equal to the marginal revenue. And this is an unusual relationship. And I'll emphasize this a little bit more later when we do our graphical approach.